Hello Stampers and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. Today I'm going to share with you this fabulous reflection technique. It is so much fun to do and it is actually quite simple, so that's the best part. I did see this technique at a recent Stampin' Up! Event with other demonstrators, and Debbie Jones shared this technique, and so now I get to share it with you. I love it and I've had so much fun playing with it since I learned it at that event. So we're actually going to make this card here. It is with the Lovely as a Tree stamp set, which I'm sure you've seen, heard, and know all about since it has been in the Stampin' Up! Catalog for many, many, many years, and I absolutely love it. Now this one here was actually done with the new Sheltering Tree stamp set, which was in the Occasions mini catalog, but have no fear, it actually made it into the 2015-2016 new catalog. So we will be able to play with this stamp set for a long time now. I am super excited about that. Both of them, you can tell, came out a little bit different, and they have their own little pieces to it that look, you know, just a hint different. As you can see, this one's very clean, and I added a little bit of brown there, and I used some sponge dauberine and everything, and it's very clean. Sometimes I can't even tell which way is up. Except for the fact that the green is down here. Now with this one, the trunk is actually a more solid image, whereas with this one it's, you know, very thin and kind of textured looking. But with this one being more solid, one, you have to be careful not to slide when you get out your window sheet. The other thing is it the ink pooled on the window sheet a little bit more, so then it gave sort of a textured, foggy look, which I actually really like because that's what a reflection is. It's not an exact, perfect, crisp image. You know, it's a little bit wrinkled and ripply and everything as it goes through the water. So I super love this one because of that little foggy look there. And so you don't have to worry about how it's going to come out because each one's going to come out different and they're all going to be amazing. So let's get started with this one. I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This measures 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to pull in my ink pads here. I have Soft Sky, which I'm going to use for the very top of the sky, and then I have Pool Party, which I'm going to use for both the sky and the water, and then I have Wild Wasabi, which I'm going to use for the grass, and then of course Chocolate Chip will be the color that I use to add a little bit of that dirt detail, and then also I will be using that for the trees. So we're going to start with some Soft Sky and my little sponge daubers. You know how much I love these things, and I'm just going to go a little bit across the top here. And just, you know, very lightly, just kind of go back and forth. You can always kind of go in a little circular motion. Just don't really pounce or otherwise you'll end up with those circle images. And very light. And you'll kind of get the pressure. The more you play with it, the more you'll see how much pressure needs to be done. Then we're going to do Pool Party. And we're actually going to go over some of that Soft Sky because we want it to not be a very definite look between the two colors, but instead we want them to meld together very well. And just kind of go back and forth, and then now we're actually going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the pond or the creek or the body of water, however you want to see that. And just keep adding more ink until you have the desired look that you're going for. And then now we're going to add that Wild Wasabi here in the middle. And it is best to actually do all of your sponging first so that you can have that down and then you know where you're going to put your stamped image. So it is much easier to do it like that. And again, I'm going to go a little bit into my pond and a little bit into my sky so that I kind of have that nice graduating color there. So here we have our piece. Of course, this is the sky, so it's actually looking directly at you. It's sky and then more sky, the ground, and then the water down here. So I'm going to flip that around towards me, and I might actually have too much grass, but that's okay. We'll just modify where we stamp. Now I have a piece of our window sheet, which you can't really see because it's clear. There, you can see a little reflection. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our tree image here, and I'm going to ink it up in Chocolate Chip and then stamp it down to where it's in the grass and right next to the water. So my grass goes up a little higher than it does in this card here, which is looking at you. So there we have that perfect, cute look there. And then now I'm actually going to ink it up again with my chocolate chip, and I'm going to stamp it on the window sheet. Again, be careful that you give even pressure because you will slide on it and then create a smear across your paper. So here you can see I have it on my window sheet, and now I'm just going to flip it over, turn it upside down, and line it up here in the water, and then just rub. And again, be sure not to move your window sheet or otherwise you'll end up with a smear, but just press and rub there. And now you have that fabulous reflection. So as you can see with this one, I don't have as much of my tree because I went down a lot farther in my wild wasabi, but that's okay because with only partial part of that tree, that just means that you're just capturing the image of your trees in the reflection on a smaller scale and including a little bit more sky there. So then I layered that on some wild wasabi measuring 4.5 by 4, and then I layered that onto a card base. And I actually left the greeting off, but this would make a great man card, as I always struggle with those, and with Father's Day coming up, it'll be absolutely perfect. Let's bring in the other sample. This one I actually did add a little Father's Day greeting. So this one we actually did with the tree, and then you'll do the tree on the bottom, and then you'll actually do the leaves as a second stamp, and you'll do that one in green, and then you'll do that one again in green on the bottom. And this one I re-inked as well. Then I added a little bit of the grass from the Sheltering Tree stamp set, and then I even added a few of those flower stems just to kind of add more texture to the grass there. And then I did all of my pool party from the grass down, and that's where my water was. And this I used with the Teeny Tiny Wishes stamp set, which is perfect for all those little extra greetings for all occasions. So be sure to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, so you can see more photos of these samples and more techniques as well. Until next time, happy stamping!